Am I the jerk for wanting more support from one of my oldest friends after I had surgery? My friend Sarah and I have been friends since middle school. Sarah and I used to be very close, but for the last 3 years, I can't stand her anymore because she only talks about herself. I have never met anyone this selfish and self-centered in my entire life. We went to different high schools, so we saw each other approximately once every 3 to 4 months for a day. During the entire day, she didn't ask me a single question about myself. I met my girlfriend in high school and remember wanting to talk about it with Sarah, but was never able to because she never let me speak. At first I thought, okay fine, let her do her little monologue, because she had a hard time at home and a bad relationship with her parents, so I thought she just needed someone to listen to her. However, recently, something happened that made me say enough. After years of chronic pain, I discovered a few months ago that I have a massive tumor on my spine and had to have a very risky surgery that almost paralyzed me from the waist down. Luckily, the surgery went really well. Sarah and I spent the morning together a month after my surgery. During the 4 hours we were together, she didn't ask me once how I was doing. We never even talked about the surgery or the fact that I was in the hospital. I tried to change the subject and talk about myself a few times, but she completely ignored me and redirected the conversation back to her. I am not saying that I want to talk about myself for hours, but something pretty traumatic happened to me, so I would at least hope that we would talk about how I was doing instead of talking about the situationship she had 3 years ago. It just makes me feel so bad and makes me so angry because I feel like she doesn't care about me and only hangs out with me to treat me like a therapist. I want to confront her and talk to her about it, but at the same time, I don't want to be mean. What should I do? English isn't my first language, so sorry if I made any mistakes. You are not responsible for this, but it's clear this friendship is one-sided. It's been going on for years, and if she cared about you, you would know it. Nobody has time for self-centered friends like this in their lives. Either let go and move on, or do a slow fade if that feels better. Am I the jerk for wanting my partner to ask for what they want instead of dropping hints and getting upset when I don't pick up on them? My partner will drop hints about something they want or need, but won't come out and ask directly. When I don't pick up on these hints, they get upset and say I don't care about them. I feel like if they want something, they should just ask instead of expecting me to read their mind. Am I in the wrong for feeling this way? My boyfriend and I have gotten into a fight over this same trivial situation in the past. It's dumb, but he refuses to apologize, and it keeps escalating. What happens is that I will be watching the television, and something will come up where I have to pause my show and walk away to do a task. This time, I brought the dog out on the porch to cool her down with the hose. The living room is on the same level and close to the porch. While I am away, my boyfriend will sit down, take the television remote, and change the channel. I asked him the last few times to please just ask me if I am done watching whatever I am watching before changing the channel. I am literally a few meters away. He knew I was watching something while he was serving himself dinner. When I paused it and went outside, he sat down and immediately changed it. I came in and said, "Hey, I was watching something. I would have appreciated it if you just asked me if I was done or if you could change the channel." He immediately got defensive and said it wasn't intentional, and why couldn't I just ask him to change it back? He said, "So every time I come in here I have to ask you? You had left." He then said I came in here and was saying this just to start a fight. Now he is going to always leave the television on, so I always have to ask him. I got more upset because this showed me he still didn't respect my view from the last time we got in a fight over the same thing. He didn't feel sorry for crossing a boundary. He continued to feel righteous and then put it on me that I was just trying to start a fight. Yes, because I just love fighting. How I said I was upset because he obviously doesn't respect or value my side of this argument enough to be considerate and just ask me before taking over the television. This has now happened multiple times, and we have been having the same fight where he says he will try to ask me but still never does. It is a dumb argument, but what gets under my skin is the fact he just continues to take without asking and feels privileged to it without having to ask. To me, it's just common courtesy. I feel more upset he seems to disregard or not value that this is something important to me. Not feeling sorry and being righteous for crossing the boundary I keep drawing is a concern long term. I feel like I'm being an asshole for this being a big deal, but it has built up to it. It makes me think of how inflexible he will be for other bigger issues that show up in our relationship. You acted correctly. If the pause button is on, it means you are watching something and he should ask if you are done or not. His constant obliviousness to what you are doing in the house is hurtful because it suggests he is not thinking about you meaningfully. It's these little resentments that build up into a relationship-killing asteroid of resentment. He needs awareness of how his unawareness affects you. Am I the jerk for not being a good partner in this 4-month arranged relationship, despite never having been in a romantic relationship before? For context, I am a 22-year-old female who comes from an Asian household. Both of my parents are from India, while I was born in the United States. I grew up in the States, and growing up in this household, I was encouraged not to date and not to have male friends. Outside of my brother's friends, who I considered my brothers, I did not have much serious contact with guys. As time passed, the idea of dating or getting in a relationship became more and more daunting. I did not know what I was doing, and I did not know where to start. Eventually, I told my mom that I did not mind going through an arranged marriage. Just 3 months ago, while my mom was looking for a match for my brother, she found the profile of Ved, a 27-year-old male. He was from India, had finished his MBBS, and was a working doctor before moving to Boston with his mom and his sister to get his master in public health. We started talking, and it was going fine. I made it clear to everyone that I did not know how to date, that I was young, and that I would not say yes to anything other than just talking and dating for a while. My mom loves him and has made it very clear to me that if I said yes, she would be ecstatic. My dad wants what I want. My brother thinks I am an idiot for going through this and that I should finish college and get a stable job before I even consider all of this. Ved himself is amazing. He is sweet, he is funny, and he made it completely clear that he wants me to be happy. He is willing to do anything to keep me happy. He gets interested in what I am interested in, has bought me things, and romances me whenever he can. In June, he came to my house, where I live with my parents, to meet me and my family. This was our second month of talking. I took him to a theme park we both enjoy, and he took me to a fancy dinner where he called the restaurant to give me a huge bouquet of roses. Soon after this trip, he claimed to everyone in his family that he wanted to marry me. He has already said he loves me. The part that makes me feel like an asshole is this: I have no idea what I am doing. He wants me to call him every day, and I try, but sometimes I miss the call, and he gets disappointed. He tells me what he is doing throughout the day, and when I do not, he gets disappointed. He has made the claim that these things he asks me to do are normal and expected of me. Logically, I think he is right. I should be able to do these things, and I should at least learn how to do these things. This is something I am doing for the first time. And these things, like calling people and telling people where I am all the time, and texting all the time, I do not even do that with my closest friends and family. I want to be with him, and I am trying. I guess what I'm asking is, am I the asshole in this situation? And if anyone has any advice, I will take that too. Your actions don't make you a jerk, but your brother is definitely onto something here. This guy isn't as great as he seems, and what he's doing sounds like love bombing, which can turn sour quickly. Constantly needing you to call and update him on everything you're doing is intense and controlling behavior. If you're not feeling it or you're not ready, that's completely valid. Don't stay with him just because you feel obligated. Am I the jerk for cussing my aunt, then refusing to apologize after she found out that I did? Hi, first off, please excuse my English since it's my second language. I have a situation involving a 17-year-old male and don't know if I should apologize for what I did. This story goes back a year. For context, my dad isn't the best, but I love him. My mom's side of the family dislikes my dad because he insists we be home by 10 p.m., while they stay out until 3 a.m. My youngest aunt has a problem where she lashes out when angry or stressed, almost like she's possessed. A year and a half ago, my sister and I stayed at my favorite aunt's house for a week without asking my dad, who had planned a vacation for us. During Ramadan, my dad hosted iftar for both sides of the family. Everything was smooth until my dad and aunts discussed our curfew. Suddenly, my youngest aunt lashed out, saying, "I hope one day one of your daughters gets treated just like how you're treating our sister." I was deeply hurt. My youngest aunt eventually passed out and was taken home. My dad got angry and shouted at my aunts, especially my favorite aunt, before going to bed. After this drama, my favorite aunt distanced herself from us. I began resenting my youngest aunt, blaming her for our strained family relationships. Now to the main issue. I began talking to my 16-year-old cousin, my favorite aunt's daughter, whom I had a crush on for 2 years. It's normal for cousins to marry in our country. After confessing my feelings, we started a relationship. Her older brother and aunts found out and we were told to stop, which we did temporarily. We continued talking secretly, but I became too stressed with final exams and the secrecy. One day, I came home to find my youngest aunt and another aunt, who knew about my relationship. They made jokes about it, which hurt. My youngest aunt talked to my sister privately, but she wouldn't tell me what was discussed. Frustrated, I called my youngest aunt a derogatory name to my cousin. A week or two later, I told my cousin I couldn't continue the relationship due to stress, and we stopped talking. At a family dinner, my youngest aunt brought gifts for my sister's birthday. I jokingly asked where mine was and she replied, "Don't talk to me, I'm disappointed in you." I found out my cousin's dad had shown my youngest aunt our messages. While on vacation, my mom told me my youngest aunt saw the messages and was hurt. She suggested I apologize. I was angry, feeling it's my youngest aunt's fault. Our family is distant. It's been 2 weeks, and I don't know what to do. Should I apologize to keep the peace or stay silent? You are the jerk here, OP, completely, and you should apologize to your aunt. You insulted her in a message to your cousin, which is even worse than insulting her to her face because it's talking behind someone's back. Your reaction shows a staggering level of self-interest and lack of self-awareness. Blaming her for pointing out that your dad treats people badly just doesn't make sense. Am I the jerk? My significant other dislikes a sticker idea I designed for a themed festival. We got into a big argument to the point where they questioned my character. I am vending at a themed festival in New Jersey as a New Jersey native. I wanted to make a joke about the Jersey Devil on a sticker. It's a very silly prompt, but my design basically suggested a person actually found the Jersey Devil, but they ended up playing Spin the Bottle. My straight male boyfriend got upset about the sticker, saying it's not inclusive and heteronormative for talking about a narrator whomever buys the sticker, as kissing the Jersey Devil. I feel confused because nowhere does the sticker suggest any specific gender kissing the Jersey Devil. He made it into a thing about not including straight men or lesbians because they would not want to kiss the Jersey Devil. I was confused because unless you have a fetish, I don't think anyone wants to actually kiss the Jersey Devil no matter their sexual identity. I was just trying to come up with a joke about some pretend scenario where someone runs into a spooky cryptid, but the encounter isn't the way they expected. I felt really taken off guard by his accusation that I am an uninclusive person for this. This sticker is not even worth fighting about this much. I may not even print it, and I would easily choose a loved one over a sale. However, I also don't want to simply not make something just because my boyfriend does not like it. I feel confused that he is verbally telling me he questions my character over this. Perhaps people other than him would be offended? My 3 best friends of varying sexual and gender identities thought it was funny, but maybe that's just my bubble. I do understand that it is not the most inclusive thing in my shop because it talks about kissing and that then inherently suggests some specific demographic. As important as inclusivity is it a problem to target a specific demographic for a single item in my shop? The demographic being Jersey Devil fans? I make it a point for the clothing I sell to be gender neutral, minus select items that are feminine. If I made clothing only for women or people who like feminine things, for example, I don't see that as problematic personally. There are businesses that focus only on men's clothing, for example, and I don't think it is a bad thing. So, people of Reddit, is my significant other being strange? Am I being insensitive? Am I the asshole? You are not in the wrong here for designing the sticker. It's a lighthearted joke that doesn't inherently exclude anyone. Your boyfriend's reaction seems a bit over the top. It's okay to cater to specific interests or demographics in your shop, as long as it's not discriminatory. Am I the jerk for refusing to move out of my shared flat so my friend's family member can move in? I am a 24-year-old male living abroad with my friend and flatmate, a 26-year-old male who is also from a different country. We met in the fall of 2021 through a mutual friend and became part of a friend group. Initially, I lived in a 7-person flat, and he lived in a 2-person flat with a mutual friend who left the country in early 2023. My future flatmate invited me to move in with him, not wanting a stranger as a flatmate. After some thought, I moved into his flat in the spring of 2023. Despite some disagreements and lifestyle differences, we made it work, and our friendship grew stronger. I was happy with the flat and keen on living here for the foreseeable future. Things took a drastic change recently. We knew for some time that a family member of his wanted to study at a local university and move to our city. While the idea was floated around, no serious conversations about logistics occurred until this week. On Monday, he told me he wanted his relative to live in our flat and take my room. I told him that while I understood he wanted to live with family, I had no plans of moving out and was not keen on finding a new place. I suggested he should be the one who moves out and finds a place to share with his relative. He did not want to accept my answer and said that he and his cousin would outbid me for my room, leveraging their wealth. I was appalled by this idea. He claimed he was separating our friendship from the living arrangement and did not consider how it affected me. I told him our friendship would never be the same after this and that I no longer considered him one of my best friends. He seemed indifferent, only responding that he would try to rebuild things after everything blew over. To try to mend things, I wanted to discuss this topic with our mutual friends to get their perspectives. He shut down this idea, stating, "I don't care what they have to say. They don't live here, and what's happening here doesn't concern them. You will try to use what they say against me." I went ahead and asked for their opinions anyway. They agreed he was being the asshole. He was upset when they messaged him, criticizing his actions. He is saying how I am being an asshole in this situation by trying to portray him as an asshole and for trying to victimize myself, for blowing this out of proportion and causing a scene. My actions that should be judged are refusing to move out of our shared flat and talking to our mutual friends about the situation without his approval. I might be the asshole because my refusal and involving our friends might seem like I am not considering his needs and causing unnecessary drama. I think I might be the asshole because I refused to move out of our shared flat to accommodate his relative. I talked to our mutual friends about the situation without his approval, which upset him and made him feel attacked. You are not the jerk. Your roommate is a snob. Stand your ground and let him figure out his issues. If you're on the lease, contact your real estate agent to clarify that you have no intention of leaving. However, if someone can outbid you for the room, it's wise to consider contingency plans. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.